Luigi's Mansion has been on my brain recently for literally no reason at all. I don't know where the heck this brain rot came from, but it made me want to play the original GameCube game again. And I did! This probably has to be one of my all-time favorite GameCube games out there, and little fun fact about this game. It was the launch game for the GameCube. It was made purely to test the capabilities of the GameCube. I am not even joking around here. This franchise wouldn't have existed if the GameCube didn't need a game tester for its capabilities. That's actually mad insane if you think about it. One of Nintendo's top 15 franchises wouldn't exist if it weren't for the GameCube. Thanks, GameCube. You did us well there. Now, this was Luigi's first ever game, and, when I say first ever game, I mean it was his first game in which he was the main character, and it wasn't his brother Mario. Also, this was released in 2001. It was a time where Luigi was kinda just Mario's green, skinny, younger brother. So not a lot of people expected this to happen. Most people just expected Luigi to remain in Mario's shadow forever. But no, this was the first step for Luigi carving a name for himself in the gaming sphere. Anyway, enough babble. Without further ado, let's get into this game and how it really made me fall in love with Luigi's spooky adventures. The game starts off with Luigi navigating his way to a mansion he just won in a random contest that he didn't even enter. He makes his way there, and this mansion is rather freaky looking. And when I see visuals like this, I call it the Pikmin 2 water wraith effect. It's the lack of ability of expression from the early 2000s and the late 90s that make it a bit more freaky in my opinion. This mansion definitely has that kind of effect. Anyway, Luigi enters this spooky looking mansion and starts looking around for Mario, who apparently told Luigi he would meet him there, but Mario is nowhere to be found. So Luigi starts searching the mansion a bit until he's attacked by a ghost in the parlor, and things ain't looking too good for the green plumber. That is until a tiny, wrinkling, kinda cuckoo-looking old dude shows up with an even goofier-looking vacuum cleaner and saves Luigi at the last moment. After the ghost manages to shake the old man, he and Luigi quickly realize they're outmatched and retreat from the mansion. After a moment, Luigi learns that this old dude who looks like he crawled out of a vent imposter style is Professor Elvin Gadd, much better known as Professor Egad, or just Egad as I like to call him. Professor Egad explains to Luigi that he was experimenting with paranormal fields and using his invention, the poltergust, to catch booze necessary for said research. Apparently, Egad also saw Mario walking into the mansion before Luigi got there, but Mario never came back out. Professor Egad is a bit too old to be playing Ghostbusters nowadays, as we just saw. So now it's up to Luigi to be the big hero here and not only rescue Mario, but capture ghosts for Professor Egad to study and complete his research. Lovely. The gameplay is definitely another way to keep you on your toes. I mean that in a way of, if you're not alert in this game, you're gonna get dunked pretty dang quick with all the ghosts roaming around the mansion. There is one thing that definitely threw me off when I played this game. You can't jump, at all in this game. You can't jump. Your main goal is just sucking up ghosts, clear out the mansion areas, and rescue Mario. Now, you would think that Jumpman's brother would be able to jump in his own game, but I guess not. I guess it's something they just didn't put in, so... I don't really see the need to jump in this game anyway, so I guess we're good there. Now, this game is classified as an action-adventure game. You can collect gems and other items. There are some toads just lurking around the mansion. Bro! How did you even get in here? Then there are elements such as the need for exploration and trying to figure out how to catch the portrait ghosts after exposing their weak points, via using Luigi's Game Boy Horror to search for clues and using a little bit of that sweet old brain juice. The weak points are not too hard to figure out. Sure, some are harder than others, but they're not too bad. If you're wondering what the hell a portrait ghost is, portrait ghosts are unique ghosts that differ from the other blobby ghosts you'll find in the halls. Once captured by Luigi, Professor Egad will turn them into paintings, hence the name Portrait Ghosts. Pretty clever naming if you ask me, but we'll get more into these ghosts later on. Now, the first area in this game is already tapping into what I see and hear a lot of people saying about this game. This game can be downright creepy. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of those games I just cannot play whenever I'm home alone. Even after all this time, that gosh darn music still gets to me. This game has an insanely uncanny way of making you feel like you're actually there, trekking through the mansion entirely by your lonesome self, whispering to yourself in the hallway, and whistling as well, and trying to not die to some low-key, freaky, and goofy-looking ghosts. I don't understand, and probably never will understand, how Nintendo managed to pull off this feeling so dang well for this game. Even in the first general area of the mansion you investigate, it gives you the complete willies, even after 24 years have gone by. Oh gosh, wait, 24 years? Holy crap, this game is old. Again, this is what I call the Pikmin 2 Water Wraith effect comes in. The low resolution 90s and early 2000s graphics come in, and combined with the dang music, this game made my skin crawl, especially with poor Luigi humming and just trying to look for his brother while being Professor Egad's guinea pig. Then again, this isn't necessarily a criticism. This game is a game just about chasing down ghosts and working your way around a mansion. It's meant to be scary. That's literally the whole point of the game. I mean, come on, it's an action-adventure game. More like Nintendo mixed with Ghostbusters. Anyway, the spooky vibes and music were really good, and especially great at setting up much-needed tension, which we'll get more into later on. The first area in general is a really good setup for what you have to do in this game. You gotta capture numerous ghosts lurking in the hallways before taking on the portrait ghosts, which are basically the bosses of the game. The first two you'll encounter are Neville, the bookish ghost, and Lydia, the mirror-gazing ghost. Now these two are easy peasy lemon squeezy to beat, given it's the first area. Neville just makes books fly at Luigi, trying to kill him with knowledge. Wait for Neville to yawn, then start sucking him up into the poltergust. With Lydia, you just gotta open the window, let the draft in, and then quickly suck her up with the poltergust. Then there's Chauncey, the spoiled baby ghost. I think out of all of the ghosts I've heard people complain about, Chauncey comes up almost always for very good reason. He's a ghost baby! Ghosts and children do not mix very well, if at all. Especially babies! Chauncey certainly lives up to his name as a spoiled baby because he's also devious, because apparently the chandelier trap is being controlled by Chauncey. How do I know that? Well, before you go into the nursery and beat the brat of the year, the trap is active. But what happens when you curb stop Chauncey? The trap is mysteriously no longer active. Chandelier mysteriously sounds a lot like Chauncey. Maybe it's just a coincidence, maybe it is Chauncey, then again, I don't know, we never really got official confirmation for that. Now, one thing I did want to touch on is the ghosts. Some of them do their jobs well, but then there are some that look more goofy than scary, especially the blobby ghosts, who honestly just look like overgrown slime balls coming for your soul. But then the scary ones. Ooh boy. The scary ones do their job very well. The ones I say freaked me out the most were Chauncey, the spoiled baby. Maybe because he's a freaking ghost child. Something about ghost kids just doesn't sit well with me. Shivers, the wandering butler, deadass looks like he crawled straight out of the oldest vampire novels, and they don't sit right with me in general. So having this guy lurking about, it pretty much creeped me out. Nana, the scarf knitting granny. Grandmas already can be terrifying, but this granny here ain't to be messed with because girl's got laser eyes. Go, granny, go. She's honestly terrifying though, like seriously, she could be really freaking scary if you look at her too long. Then there's Sue P, the dozing girl. This ghost is arguably one of the most disturbing in the entire dang game. She literally died during her beauty sleep. The official bio says, what was meant to be a short nap seems to have turned into an eternal rest for sweet Sue P. As if that isn't freaky enough, the fact that Sue P turns her entire bedroom upside down and is sleeping on the bed on the ceiling? I don't know how you can get much creepier than that. And then, last but not least, the Clockwork Soldiers. I don't know why this is such a huge fear of mine, but for whatever reason, wind-up toys have always scared the crap out of me deep down. But man, these guys brought that fear out like it wasn't even an issue. But the one that scared me the most, to no end, without fail, still scares me, still haunts my nightmares sometimes, but even more so when I was a kid, was King Boo himself. Then again, King Boo is meant to be scary, as most of the other ghosts are. He is also the final boss, which gives him a major leg or ghostly leg or hand up, because that means he's more than likely going to have the most effort put into his being scary bit. King Boo also possesses a Bowser costume in his boss fight, which is still an obstacle throughout the whole thing. I was quite surprised and scared to death when that big Bowser head was still coming at me while I was trying to sap King Boo's health down. Not gonna lie though, this fight was absolutely amazing, and arguably one of the best fights in the series if you ask me. Definitely a good setup for what was to come later on in the series. Also, managing to capture King Boo in the end after so many tries was so dang worth the struggle. Take that, King Boo! Now, as amazing, sometimes scary, and fun as this game is, there are some complaints that I've heard, and I have a few for myself about this game. One of the biggest complaints I have is that this game feels a little bit short. It only took me about 4.5 hours tops to beat the game on my playthrough. I got through it in one sitting and I was left craving more. I wanted to enjoy the spooks for longer, solve more puzzles, take down more portrait ghosts, and face King Boo once more. It was something I just wanted to enjoy longer overall. So I guess I understand why it was a little bit short. It was their first time making this kind of game, and it was also the GameCube's first crack at having a game, so yeah, plus it was also just the demo game. The controls also gave me a little bit of a hard time at some points, especially when catching ghosts. And the camera was a bit janky, but I'm fairly certain that was just a me thing, because I haven't really seen anyone complain necessarily about the camera or the controls, so yeah, more than likely just a me thing. The last complaint I have is basically a modern game developed thing, and it wasn't really a huge priority back in the early 2000s, keep in mind, the backtracking. Now again, I know it wasn't a huge priority for any game developer back in the early 2000s, so it makes backtracking through this mansion that's the size of what felt like a football field was quite a chore whenever you needed to go back to a certain area. Now, keep in mind, this wasn't too big of a problem, but boy, I can see how this could anger some of the players nowadays, because we all have attention spans that may as well be as long as a tennis racket. In other words, not very long. But yeah, other than that small little complaint about the backtracking, the controls, and the camera, and just the game overall being a little bit short, I don't have many negative things to say about this game other than just those few problems, and yeah, I guess it's just, you know, things that could have been fixed in the modern days, where the technology was more advanced and we weren't working off of LimeWire. This game, Luigi's Mansion, is truly an early 2000s classical gem. Despite some scary and somewhat freaky moments, it's fine. It's a great game, and honestly, it's really good, and just, I recommend people play it more. I'm gonna spit out a hot take here. I kind of feel sad that Luigi's Mansion got a little bit overshadowed by Mario Sunshine. I mean, sure, most people wanted to play another Mario game with Flood, and, you know, we're looking forward to that. And a lot of people didn't really want to try out Luigi's Mansion. Again, completely understandable, you know, the unknown is pretty scary. But yeah, I just wish it got a little bit more attention. But it is truly still a gem, and I really, really, really like this game. Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube has always and will always continue to hold a very special place in my heart, and I'm positive that it will just, it'll be there in the future and I'll probably play it again someday. Happy ghost hunting, Luigi! Happy ghost hunting. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. If you ended up liking this video and you want to see more videos like this, or you even have a game to recommend me, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear y'all's suggestions. Anyway, huge thank you to Lufinas, who did this thumbnail back in 2024, and I just remade the video and reused the thumbnail. Anyway, thanks Lufinas, it looks amazing. Also, be sure to check me out on Twitch and Blue Sky. Anyway, take care guys, bye!